How do we know?
Hey! I'm just going to assume it's on now. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Hello Enneagram. As you noticed, we have a guest with us.
Woo!
We have Lynn here. We are so excited. We are starting a new series of hoping to interview someone or maybe a couple people that identify with each type. So hopefully we'll have about 9 extra episodes. I don't know when they're going to happen. They might not happen each week, but at some point throughout the summer, we're hoping to hit each type so that you guys can really hear what each type put on flesh really looks like, and how diverse that can be. Because within, as we've said before, within each type, it really is so dynamic and just complex, and to be pigeonholed to just a broad archetype description is not what the Enneagram's about. So, and also it really helps to have some connection sometimes when you have language by hearing someone else's experience, to know, oh my gosh, I am so much like that, or I totally get that, or don't, or whatever. So we're excited at the very least, because it's just fun hanging out with Lynn, because she's incredible, but also to really dive in deeper to each type.
Yes.
So, as you might have caught in the title and in the little promo, we're starting with one. We're starting with the type 1, which we are calling the reformer. Miss Lynn is the reformer. So we're going to talk about, do a general description of what the 1 is, and then dive right into some questions.
Yes. Okay, so 1s are conscientious and ethical with a strong sense of right and wrong. They are teachers, crusaders, and advocates for change, always striving to improve things, but afraid of making mistakes.
Oh boy.
They're well organized, orderly, and
watch Lynn's face as we're reading this.
And they try to maintain high standards. A woman of excellence, that's what I would say. But can slip into being critical and perfectionistic, and they typically have problems with resentment and impatience. And at their best, they are wise, discerning, realistic, and noble. I actually remember Dad saying that about you when I first moved out here. He's like, she's like a queen. I remember, and that really
Actually, he said that to you?
He did.
Oh,
she's
funny.
like a queen.
Aww.
Yeah, and I remember that struck me because, I thought that was really great. All right, so their basic fear is being corrupt, evil, or defective. Their basic desire is to be good, have integrity, and to be balanced. The key motivations is they want to be right, to strive higher and improve everything, to be consistent with their ideals, to justify themselves, and to be beyond criticism so as not to be condemned by anyone. So how does that land on you? Like, how do you relate?
Yeah, how does that resonate with me? Pretty well. The whole thing. I read that description, and I went, I don't really think there's anything on there. To be honest, because there's the good and then there's the not, but there's really nothing on there that I don't relate with. I can relate with everything on there. It all resonates. I was going to say, I guess we haven't gone into the perfectionist versus reformer.
No, we can't. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so the type 1 in some circles can be known as the perfectionist.
Right.
And in some places it's known as the reformer. Well, so I want to talk a little bit about the perfectionist and the reformer, because I personally don't like the word perfectionist for many reasons. I think it has a negative connotation to it, and I think part of that, it's not that it isn't true, it's that I think it can make people feel a certain way toward you if they find out you're a perfectionist.
Wow.
Like, look at our society. There's even books out that say how not to be a perfectionist. There are actual books that say this.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make us feel very well. It's like, oh my gosh, how not to be me. Okay. But anyway, so so I took a dictionary and I wrote that, I put this down. This is what a dictionary says a perfectionist is. A person who wants everything to be perfect and demands the highest standards possible. Okay, it's true. Well, listen to what the synonyms are, which I couldn't even believe. I had to write this down. Choosy, anally retentive, nitpicking,
Oh, wow.
and fussiness. It's like, wow, okay, so that's why I don't really like
Yeah,
the word.
it's really picking on the shadow side
It
of
really
the type
is.
instead of celebrating its superpower of like seeing potential and possibility.
And
Right.
excellence. And
Yeah.
excellence.
And excellence.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because I have to say, I love excellence.
Yep.
I love excellence. I love when things are done really
Yeah.
well. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to get a latte that the barista has made a beautiful design on. I just, it's like, that means so much. Like, that's excellent. And if a celebration is done in an excellent way, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about our 30th celebration.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And Serena, you were a big part of making it so excellent.
Because
like
I vibe with an excellence.
It really does.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, this just blows me away. Everything is done so well. It just made me so happy, you know. But that's the kind of thing. But anyway, yeah. So excellence, perfect. I was gonna kind of go back to maybe even my childhood, and I guess this is perfection and excellence, but this, I guess, is more perfection. I really have never liked things to be out of order.
Yeah.
Or not to have control. You know, if things are out of control, I never like things to be messy.
Okay.
And as a very young child, I told Christi this several months ago, a memory came back to me as I was studying the Enneagram, and I said, oh my gosh, I forgot all about this. When I was a little girl, like I couldn't even hardly talk yet. My grandmother told me that something I used to ask for, when I could hardly say the word, was a napkin. I would be eating at the table with all the people, and here I am, you know, just this toddler that couldn't even talk, but I want a napkin. And because I did not like just things to be messy. I just want, you know. So, you know, what's funny is that life, you know, can be very messy. You know, but my take is, well, okay, all right, have napkins. Have napkins, plenty of them. Now that's kind of funny. I even as an adult,
I know.
even as an adult, I look for the napkins. Like if I'm at occasion and somebody just forgets, like they had out everything else and the napkins got forgotten, I go, oh boy, the napkins.
Stresses you
And I think, okay, I'm probably going to have to just ask, do you have the napkins?
Oh.
I was like, of course we have napkins, you know. But anyway, so
if you invite her over,
yeah,
make sure you
so I can just see what everyone's going to do, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't have this stack next to me, is that enough? Oh my gosh.
What about when you're put in a place where you don't know the rules? When you don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
and it's just kind of like, let's go, you know, let's
Right.
see. Like, what is that like for you?
So, yeah, I guess that wouldn't be, I was going to say, is that like more like spontaneous, or no, it's a little different. It's more about the rules. It's more like, yes.
Like
yes,
the programming.
Yes.
So say you were asked to speak at a
Ooh,
church.
yes.
Okay. But they were very vague about the time, when to arrive, how long you were going to speak, what they wanted you to speak on, and they were just come and do whatever.
That's tough.
You don't like that?
That is super tough. I mean, that's
Okay.
almost, yeah.
That's our too many options.
That's very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I either try to get some answers.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it's still vague, I'm probably going to be sweating it a little bit.
Okay.
Like just really wondering what's going to happen, because I like I like to know things. I like to have things ready and be prepared. I guess I'm a ducks in the row kind of person, you know? I guess I kind of...
Well, what do you feel, let me poke at you a bit, Lynn.
Okay.
If you're not prepared, what does that mean for you?
That's a good question.
Like, if you do go and you say you do feel unprepared and you speak and whatever standard you have for yourself, which is I'm sure excellent and high, you feel like you came short of that and part of it was the vagueness or whatever, what does that do for you inside? Like,
well, I suppose I have to know more specifically of an instance, but it just depends.
okay.
I've had to just shoot from the hip,
Okay.
which is really hard
Okay.
when you're having your ducks in the row trying to shoot from it. But I usually really rely on the Holy Spirit. Like, it's
Okay.
like, okay, all right, I give it. All right, God, I give it up.
Okay,
I can't control this right now. I can't do this. Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
And I just go.
Wow,
You know?
okay, cool.
So, yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with your growth path, actually. Going into a 7, which we will get into,
Yeah.
because that's what it sounds like to
I know.
me. Being
I know.
able to flow
Yeah.
and loosen that need for control,
Yeah.
but allowing it to Holy Spirit to flow
Yeah.
through you
Exactly.
is part of the growth path, I think, for a 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have another question, or you want me to?
Sure. Okay, so the next question, we're kind of, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about
Oh,
the journey of discovering that you were a 1.
Oh,
like,
you said something.
oh wait, you want
we
to say
forgot to talk about the reformer.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
right.
We
Yeah.
only talked
No,
about the
perfection.
perfectionist.
No, let's go to the reformer.
No, I'll be real quick on this, but to me, a reformer brings about change for the better.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that really, it's like, yeah, I don't want to just be nitpicky or perfectionist about things. I really do want to bring about change for the better. I want things to be better. I want to, whether, in me personally, a lot of it is a reform of thinking.
Yeah.
I want to think differently. I want to believe differently. I want to believe better than I was before.
Yeah. Totally.
But I think in my experience, my journey through life, I was always drawn toward things that maybe were a little bit out of the norm. I had all my kids at home when home birth wasn't that popular. I started homeschooling back when people are like, "You're doing what?" You know, and those kind of things. But I was thinking how even my journey has led me to even as I have gotten older, even like mindsets that's very common of, well, the belief that when we get older, all of our bodies are going to start like breaking down, and you're going to start being in pain all the time. Oh well, now you're 60, and now you're this, and to me, it's a reformation of that kind of belief is so important to me. It's like, no, we can't accept a lot of things. So to me, like reforming, it means bringing change to what we believe. That's how it is for me personally.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of famous ones that have actually done things, Martin Luther King, or like they've social injustices, those kind of things. But I think my biggest thing is more, I want to change how I look at things. I want to change how I believe in things.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my
That's amazing.
reform
Yeah.
thing.
And that is the gift. That is the gift that the ones bring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That knowing the endless potential for better and
Yes.
something more.
Yeah.
Why settle, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So tell us about like your journey in finding out you were 1 and finding out about the Enneagram even a little bit, but then
Well, that's funny.
like specifically landing on the 1.
There's 2 people in this room that actually I heard about the Enneagram from first. I can't remember. I think it might have been you, Sarina, first, but it was so like tied almost the same exact time as Christi. It was funny. Sarina brought it up at a staff meeting one day and just said, have you guys ever heard of the Enneagram? And I was like, the could you spell that? And I was writing it down, and then I went to see Christi. We were over at your house, and you're starting to talk about going into the Enneagram. And Christi starts pouring out her heart. So I was like, what in the world is this? Now, I've always been, I'm a believer in self-awareness and stuff like that. I'm into, I was always into DISC and Strength Finders and all that, and those are all great, Myers-Briggs, all that. But this,
not the same.
Oh my gosh. This takes you into a journey like none of the others can do. And so when I think what I did is I started reading from a site the different types to see if maybe I could relate to. Well, interestingly, I thought I was a 6.
Oh wow, that is interesting.
That's what we said.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yes. Christi's always very, oh, really? Oh, okay. So I finally take a test, and I remember I did it in a Starbucks, and I was all done, and I was so shocked because the test came up and it said, you're a 1 with a wing of a 9. And I went, a 1? So I immediately texted Christi, and I think Hannah too, and they were both like, that's no surprise.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
So anyway, when I did realize that and started reading more about it, then I said, oh, I guess I really can see this now. It's a funny journey for everybody.
Right.
What made you think you were a 6 at first?
Well, just from reading. I'm trying to think of the things because it's been a while now because I put aside 6.
Yeah, 6 is like the loyalist.
The loyalist
has like the council of the critics of where it usually can decipher all of the potential dangers or wrong things in a room to keep people safe.
Right.
And wanting security, finding where's security, where is safety, and
prepared.
And being
that
prepared.
That stood out too.
I remember that was what you were saying. It's like,
okay.
well, I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
And 6s like to be prepared too, but it's really the reason why. Why do you like to be prepared? 6s, it's to protect or to try to make sure bad things don't happen.
Right.
1s, it's because that's like the right, like being prepared makes you feel like it's the excellence. It's the right thing to do to be prepared so I can bring my best.
Yes.
That's the difference between
but that's very true. Yeah. So it was the prepared thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a coach, by the way.
I don't know. I'm watching you over here coaching. I'm like, this is a really cool team happening
you
here.
guys are.
You're pretty amazing, Sarina.
Alright, let's move on. This is about Lynn, not about
So you landed on the 1 once you took the test and you started digging and realizing
and it
a
really
lot of
resonated.
it. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your inner critic a little bit, because that is, and one of the differences between a 6 and a 1, as you were saying before, is the inner critic the 1s have one inner critic that they're constantly trying to appease. They're trying to be good so that voice quiets. 6s have a committee. So there's like this inner committee that they're sitting at this table, and there's like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And so it can be difficult for 6s to know what to do because they've got like so many thoughts and ideas coming at them. So that's just to point out that between the 6 and the 1. So let's talk about your inner critic a little bit and how that affects you.
Inner critic.
Yes. Wait, can I tell a story just really quick? Because
I
remember when you were like, it dawned on you. I don't know how far into the journey you were, but I remember one day coming over and you're like, I was in the shower this morning and realized that's not the devil. Yes. I thought it was my whole life. Yes. That was the devil.
It was such a revelation.
That's so powerful.
I actually, so my earlier than I thought that inner critic or that inner voice was God.
Wow. Okay.
Like,
telling you the Enneagram is the gospel.
Oh, man. You should have or you didn't, come through on that, or all those. And then I got to a place in my life where I realized, oh my gosh, no, God is way too good. That's not him. So I went right to the devil. I said, it's the devil. Boy, does anybody else hear the devil that much? Like I do, because man, boom, 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 like harp. And then, like Christi said, I just had this revelation. I just went, oh my gosh.
Giving the devil too much credit.
Maybe it hasn't even been the devil.
Giving him too much credit.
Oh my gosh. It's been this inner critic,
wow.
this inner voice. And it's really a thing to work with, the inner critic.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Sometimes not too well, sometimes, oh my gosh, sometimes it's like beat yourself up time, like, oh my gosh, you're agreeing with the inner critic, like, oh gosh, that was totally the pits, but what I've learned and what I'm learning are ways to recognize it, number one, because I have to measure it. It's like, wait, okay, who's talking here? Is this how my father talks to me? Okay, he doesn't. Okay, so why am I talking to me like that? And you have to kind of balance it like that. And sometimes it's just reading the word, just to clear that out. Sometimes it's just worshiping. Sometimes it's just, meditate. Whatever it is, but sometimes it's just, I'm just going to breathe right now. I'm just going to breathe. I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Breathing. Just really.
It does. It helps.
It really, really does. It really does.
Yeah.
I've even had to say sometimes, be quiet. Be quiet.
Wow, you're nice.
But like I say, sometimes it's easier than others. That, to me, that's a big challenge for ones.
Yeah.
That inner critic, because it is so loud. And it's obnoxious, and it's relentless.
It's assaulting, is what it feels like, right? It's assaulting.
Gosh, you can, so I think a real hope for all ones is just to know what does God say about you, number one, and you rest in that, and once you start recognizing that that's your inner critic, and you need to put it where it belongs, because that's not, how God sees you. You can start to move forward, and really get. But I was just going to see if I had any notes on that.
Like a wonderful one that Lynn is. She wanted to be preferenced on all of the questions
Yes.
that we had, so she could fully answer them
That is
with
part of being your
excellence
one.
and not forget things. And it's like, all right, girl, we'll set you up.
Totally.
You can do that.
Yes.
So.
One is like I'm a total list person.
Yeah.
I want to have things prepared. I'll say more about that later when we talk about when I feel like I'm journeying into, that
Growth path.
the
to
growth.
seven.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will talk a little bit more about that and what's come of that. So that's the inner critic.
You got everything.
I did.
So then-
Yeah.
Okay, so this kind of piggybacks off of that, because I would imagine your inner critic is one of the hardest things that you face as a one, but what's some other things that are a major struggle for you as a type one?
I put down a couple. There's a lot actually, but there's a couple. Loving myself no matter what. I've come a long way in that, but I can remember distinctly, I don't know if it was 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I was sitting on the couch one day and I was just, I don't know what I was doing. I was don't know if I was even reading my Bible. I don't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden the Holy Spirit said, he said, you don't love yourself just as clear as day. And I went, what? I don't? And I started to think about it, and I thought, I said, but I love you. He said, but you don't love you. And it was like, oh my gosh, I've got to love me. Ooh. So loving myself, I have grown a lot in that. I've learned to just, do that. But that was a big deal. And it has been a big deal. And sometimes it still is a big deal. If I feel like I haven't done something the way I should have, or said something wrong, or done, whatever. Loving myself, forgiving myself, it can be hard. Now, another thing I find that that is hard is letting things go. If I can't, letting it go. The little Frozen song, "Let It Go."
I know that so well.
Let it go. I mean, it's like, yeah, right. Let it go. Let it go.
Which I'm pretty sure Elsa is a 6, by the way. I'm just saying. So to not type those Disney characters.
But yeah, letting things go that I can't change.
Yeah.
At least not at the moment, or I can't. If there's certain things that happen, or that I can't quite make any better, or whatever. I have to let it go.
Can I ask you, does letting it go feel like defeat, or does it feel like grace?
Should it feel like grace? Yes.
Or relief. Relief.
Yeah, it does. It can feel like defeat unless I turn it over and really give it over. I have to give it over to God. And to say, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So here it is, and I'm going to leave that right there with you. And so there's the relief right there, you know, and then there's the grace too. But things that like I need to have to be careful of are things like holding on to resentments. Resentments can creep up. That you don't even know you have. You don't even know you have them until something comes up that gets in your face and you realize you had some resentments about something that happened umpteen million years ago.
Right.
And so resentments are a big thing too,
because
in that
as
letting go.
One, is it because they're in the head tribe, there's like the vice of
anger.
or the gut, right? So there's the vice of anger,
Yep.
and because anger isn't good, often ones will shove it down.
Yep.
And so that's why it can manifest as resentment. And build up and build up,
As
and
it
then
comes out like,
So you experience that. And
definitely.
how do you have a way to kind of gauge when you see a situation, or you're in a situation that might cause anger or later become resentment? Have you noticed yourself growing and recognizing that and dealing with it?
Yes, I have. I have. I've actually had things that have happened just within this past year that it's starting to happen more rapidly now, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And that's part of the goal of this is to see it in live action, not just when you're reflecting.
Exactly.
Because then when you're reflecting, it's like you can't really go back and fix it.
Right.
But it does help to recognize it so that when you are in the present and it does come up, you're like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
You're not me. I've got this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see that.
I really am, and that's really helpful too. Because I had something that happened just a year ago, where something came up in conversations, and it had nothing to do with who was talking to me, but it had to do with the situation that was being talked about, and all kinds of anger was like just coming up, and it's like, what in the world? And I had to think about it, and I realized it went back to a root that I had stuffed. It's something that really hurt a long time ago, and I stuffed it. And then it just kind of rose up, but you know, it was good, because I said, oh, didn't even know that was still there. And a beautiful thing happened about that. I'm going to share that at some point, but a beautiful thing happened, like a lot of reconciliation and love and grace in that situation. It was beautiful. Yeah. It was really beautiful. But anyway, since that time, I feel like there's been, I've been able to recognize it more. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Oh, so good.
All right, talk about the growth path.
Yeah. So as we talked about in the other videos, there is a growth path and a stress path.
All the arrows.
Right. That's what all the arrows inside. So part of the growth path of a 1 is borrowing from the 7. And what does that look like for you? How is that journey of embracing that, understanding that, and using it as a resource for you?
Which the 7 is the enthusiast, how do you describe yourself? The fun one, the adventurer, the thrill seeker. I don't know.
Yeah. It's easier. I want to hear from a 1 borrowing from the 7. We'll get into the 7 itself as like when we talk about the 7.
Yeah. To me, it's like heaven.
It really is.
So Christi is heaven.
It's like heaven. I've shared with Christi different times where I've tapped into those high points of the 7, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful, because to me a 7 is they. I can say a million things about it. Actually, a 7 lets a lot of things just roll off. They don't hold this stuff in.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. They have fun. They're spontaneous.
Yes.
You know, I was thinking, little kids. I talk about little kids all the time. There's a reason for that. It's because I think they symbolize that to me too. Yeah. Little kids, let's just have fun. Let's just spontaneously do this now. And it's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. This is beautiful. This is perfect. Yeah. So yeah, I love that about the 7s. Something that I found recently was I love to be prepared about things, and usually when I'm going to speak, I know ahead of time when I'm going to speak, on Sundays or whatever. I have plenty of time to put together my notes. I want to get, I want to see, what's the Greek for that and that, and it takes time to get all this stuff together. But the last time I spoke, it happened very quickly. It was within less than 24 hours. It's just the way it was. It was just a thing that I felt was on my heart, and Terrell was like, yeah, that's got to be, all this. And I'm like, oh, this is going against everything in me. But I'm going to do it.
Awesome.
And it was spontaneous, it was more spontaneous. And those are the kind of places that I feel like I draw from that, from the 7. And it was great. Like, it was like fine, I also think about like 7s are able to say, it's okay. This isn't perfect, but it's okay. It's fine. And I thought of an example of this, like when little Gracie has been picking a lot of flowers lately to bring into me, and she, the flowers she picks are weeds, they're total weeds, and they're dandelions, or she's now picking the clover, which Daryl wants to use weed killer on, kill it's everything, So anyway, but she brings them in, and she smiles this huge smile, and she's got the bouquet of clover, and that just does. You see, it's things that speak to you like that, that are those God moments where you go, that's the ultimate. Yeah. It's the ultimate imperfection here. Even those imperfect things and those things that seem not that great, or they are, and they're done with love, and it just, just rocks your world right through, you know. But yeah, I think I tend to, and I also focus on heaven a lot. You know that about me, and the reason is because I know that in the atmosphere of heaven itself, things are perfect. They are.
I think there's going to be a lot of weeds up in heaven. I'm just saying.
They are perfect, but
Christi likes them, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. If anything, just because she likes them.
You're right. And I think that's so true. I think the perfectness of heaven goes way beyond what we can even understand is perfect here.
Totally.
And that's the beauty of it. And so I think when I just want heaven here, it's, I want heaven here. I want the perfect love. I want the perfect peace. I want the no striving. I want the no condemnation. I want the, be able to love one. I want all of that, and so I can really join with Jesus praying that prayer all the time. It's like, yes, oh yes, definitely, Lord, yes, heaven here. But anyway, it's true. I do feel like that about when I think about the 7. It's just very relaxing, fun, and happy, and that's good. Yeah.
It's like that perfect, pure love. This is what I hear.
Yeah.
In your description through like your interactions with Gracie and just how you think of heaven, and it's like these emotions of heaven, the fruit of connection with one another is the perfect.
Yeah.
The perfect connection with imperfect people, right? But something about that that purity and just here's this awesome thing I'm giving you, Grandma. And that just innocence and that powerful beauty is just, that's where the perfection is. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love how you see the world. It's beautiful.
Yep. So we've got,
what time is it?
It is 8:09.
Okay.
So
start wrapping up here. I want to ask one more question because this kind of came to me as I was thinking about this awesome interview we're going to have today, because I think a big word for a lot of ones is the word grace. Because of that drive and that standard for being good and not wanting to be evil or corrupt, and just almost this avoidance of what's wrong to try and do what is good is what can happen. But in the midst of that, there's this thing called grace. So what is grace to you?
Grace is just allowing it, towards me, it's allowing me to be me. It's allowing others to be who they are. It's extending to others what I want extended to me. Grace is huge. Grace is really huge. I feel like that's a key of leaning in for me. Like I have to lean into grace. I gotta lean into grace. It's what he's done. It's what he has for me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that right or not, but yeah, grace is big.
Yeah.
It's really big. Yeah, and it's about love. I think grace and love go hand in hand. So yeah, being able to love. I think about love, and it's perfect love. He is perfect love, and I guess if I want perfection, that's where it lands. That's where it lands.
Beautiful.
good question.
Yeah.
She didn't get prepared for that one either. That was a good answer.
I totally felt.
Yeah, so good.
So yeah, any last thoughts or things? Did you feel like you were able to get through everything you wanted to share?
I think so.
Do you feel like you represented the wonderfulness
so.
of ones? We need ones in our lives.
We so do.
They bring,
really do.
Yeah, they bring that reformation. They bring that higher perspective. They help you not forget what you're capable of. I know I've experienced that firsthand with Lynn. When I remember one time I think it was when we were doing the school, and I was asked, what's one word to describe Lynn? And I was like, safety. Because you're a safe place, because I know you're not going to let me settle. You're not going to let me just, stay where you're supposed to stay. You have this grace on you to just call out the more in people. And I know I've experienced that day in, day out with you. And you actually, you don't just see it and talk about it, you act on it, and you're there for it. So it's wonderful. Ones are wonderful. Making this world a better place. Heaven on earth. So yeah, if you guys think you really relate to some of what Lynn's story is, and you might be thinking, maybe I'm a one, let us know.
Yeah.
Drop some comments,
Yeah.
maybe leave some thoughts of questions even, and Christi and I are happy to look Lynn too, and to see if we can help you just navigate in your journey if you're wanting to find out more about what type, and just jump into this awesome journey that we call the Enneagram, because it really does help match a path to love, a path to that greater awareness of everything that we're called to be as children of God, and
celebrates each other's differences.
Yes.
That's to be able to have the 1 and the 3 and the 7 and the 2 and all the numbers, like each one, to be able to have grace for them to be them and honor what it is that they bring to the table and into the body, and create community through those connections.
So
it is, which
it's a powerful thing.
So powerful. Yeah, I think we were just talking about that, about how do you create unity? And you said, I really feel like this is one way to create unity, because there's so much. As long as you embrace the work and you don't use it as a sword or a shield, which is what we've already talked about, but if you embrace the work for yourself, and then you start to have grace for others, that's the unity.
Right. Grace for yourself, and then it pours out and you have grace to others, which is that is a key for community and connection,
really
for
is.
Authentic connection.
Really is.
Not just, hey, we all get along because we're supposed to. It's
it's the
let's
real
make this
deal.
real.
Yeah.
We're not hiding, man. Let's go there. So
That's true. Not hiding. We were talking about that too, about how as you get in there, it can feel a little bit like, okay, Mom, sitting here, I'm a 1. That's exposing, right? Or I'm a 7. That once you start to understand the core fears, that is real vulnerability. So
especially
making it real.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this time. I know we definitely did.
Yeah.
And like I said, we hope to bring some more of these to you and just diving more into each type as we can find people to interview and stuff. So we love you guys. We hope you're having a great week, and I think we're taking next week off. So catch up. If you haven't watched, we've got 4 episodes now. Oh, so catch up. And last week's was super long, and this one's kind of long too. But yeah, if you've missed any, please feel free to go back and look through either the posts here or the YouTube channel, Hello Enneagram. And we'll catch you next time. I gotta shut off the live feed now, so it's gonna be awkward. Here we go.